With numbers like I'm MJ and Dash Jackson and Jordan. Boy, I'm killing y'all boring. Time to give the world what they really need. That's the H-O-M-I-E.
Good evening, Internet. My name is Darius Lester, and this is Mammoth Money Mindset. And this evening, I wanted to try to maybe be a little more educational. So we're going to talk about credit, right? The thing people hear about all the time. Most people are afraid of credit cards. They figure the best way to deal with credit is to not deal with credit. And then they have people that went the other opposite way, and they just dove right into credit. They didn't have money to accomplish whatever goals they needed to accomplish at the moment, and they were like, "Ooh, credit's right here. Now I can do whatever I want," right? Whether that be taking care of your kids, feeding yourself, trying to go through school, getting a car, just a whole bunch of random things. Whatever you considered a need at that moment, you decided to go into debt to get it with hopes that you would pay it off later. But as we know, more times than not, people never actually end up paying it off. The interest starts coming in, starts compounding, and you never really get through it. Your credit score goes down. Now you can't get approved for other loans when you actually need them, when you're trying to buy your first house. Or it's not good enough to maybe even do debt consolidation. And it just seems like this endless pit of debt. But center focus, because then I'm going to get all into debt and how to pay off debt. I'm going to stick to credit by itself, right? At its core, credit is not evil. Credit's not the devil. None of that stuff. I know a lot of us got raised that way, but it's honestly a very helpful tool. It's been around for ages, even before, plastic cards were created. There was all kind of, bartering methods where, you would take something from somebody, with the promise that you would, return it to them later, maybe with more. Maybe I'll take a goat and I'll come back, in a couple months and give you 2 goats. Credit. So I am going to just go through like 2 slides from this PowerPoint I created to teach some youths. And, I'm just hoping that this will maybe clear up some thoughts about why your credit score is what it is and how you could possibly raise it. Okay. I'll just skip all of this. All right, credit. What is credit? Simply put, credit is like a substitution for money. It's somebody letting you borrow something, and they believe that you have enough credibility that you will return whatever it is they lent you back, oftentimes with interest on top. What's a credit score? Credit score is something created basically to mathematically figure out who is credible and who's not, who has been true to their word, over time, to prove that, hey, you can lend me money and you can trust that I will return money to you. I think something to compare it to is like a 5-star rating, right? If you're trying to deal with somebody and they have 2 stars, you're not going to feel very confident. You probably won't even deal with that person. The same thing as having a low credit score. Whereas if somebody has, 740, 780, 800, you'll be like, oh, well, clearly this person has been borrowing money and paying it back. They got a 5-star rating. I trust them with my business. Let's see. Why is my credit score important? It's important because that's just how the world works right now. That's how they decide, what interest rate you have on your house, how much you should pay for different insurances, how much you should pay, to get a new car. Just all these things. You can live considerably cheaper if you have a good credit score. So actually, I guess since I'm already talking about that, skip that for a minute. Here's a whole bunch of easy examples, right? You're buying a $30,000 car. If you have good credit, just, over the 5 years of paying that off, you would have paid $39,000. Whereas if you had a bad credit score, you would have paid $53,000. Same car, same out the door price, but this is the difference you paid because of credit. House, $300,000 house. good credit score over your 30-year period, you'd end up paying $550,000. And if you didn't know, yes, that's the effects of interest. You're always going to end up paying way more than your original buy price was. But if you have bad credit, you're going to pay considerably more than the original buy price was. Super important to try to get good credit, right? Just avoiding credit cards altogether does not equate to good credit. I know lots of people that are like, oh yeah, don't worry, I don't have any credit cards. That doesn't make me not worry. That makes me worry, because normally if you don't have any, maybe your credit score is sitting around, like low 600s, right? Low 600s, borderlining, getting into that 500 range. That's a area where you get denied a lot at. Or you get, even if you do get accepted, like these red numbers, you're going to be paying a lot. And then lately, what I've seen is the best reason to have a good credit score is so that you can leverage your credit. So down here, good credit score, you can borrow $50,000 to $100,000 in credit to start whatever business you wanted to do. I believe the true purpose of credit is to borrow money so that you can do something with it that will make you more money. Then you won't have any problem paying the money back because you have more money than, you used it to create more money than what you borrowed. I think where everybody falls apart is everybody borrows money for stuff that's not going to make the money. You don't. And that's why, like, when people ask me for money and it's because they're late on their rent or something, I don't ever expect them to pay me back. They'll be like, oh man, no, I just need this. My check comes the next month and then I'll pay you right back or so. How? If you couldn't pay your mortgage this month and then I give you money to pay it, and then next month your mortgage is going to be due again when you finally do get paid, where does that leave room for you to pay me back? It's not. You're living paycheck to paycheck. You're clearly barely or not even able to pay your own bills. You taking my money and giving yourself another bill, somebody that you owe, you're never going to pay me back. And I just kind of got that in my head already. Now, if somebody asks to borrow money for a business reason, or, because they're trying to flip something or they're trying to do something that will make more money, I let them borrow, $1,000 and then they go, buy a whole bunch of t-shirts, sell them for 3 times the price or something. Now they have $3,000. They can easily give me my $1,000, plus maybe 10%. So maybe they give me $1,100 back. They still have, $1,900 to themselves because they took the money to go do something to make more money, which makes it a lot easier to pay back your debts. So that's kind of my advice on that. If you're going to be borrowing money, do it so that you're making more money. Don't borrow money to lose money. If you borrow money for bills, I get it. People do it because they nope, I didn't have any other choice. I'm not going to get into that. I do feel like you always have other choices. It's stuff like, oh, I don't feel like doing that. Maybe you didn't want to sell some of your clothes that you have that you don't ever wear, or maybe you didn't want to get that extra job because you're tired after your first job, or so on and so forth, right? Valid reasons to some, not valid to others. Just saying you do have other choices besides borrowing somebody else who is, a good steward of their money. You get it. But, borrow money so that you can make money so that you can actually pay back people because they'll appreciate it. Yep. So let's get back to this, right? Credit. So if you did not know, your credit score is actually broken out into 5 different categories. Category 1 is payment history, right? It's 35% of your credit score. That's what makes up this difference between, the lowest you can be is 300, the highest you can be is 850. So payment history, basically that is paying everything on time. Nobody having to, give you a past due note or a late payment or any of that stuff. Nothing goes to collection, so on and so forth. Just pay everything, set your stuff on auto pay or something. Just pay everything on time. You forgot is not a good excuse. Amounts owed. So amounts owed. So the way I'll normally explain this is, let's say you had a credit card for $1,000 and you charged $500 to it. Now you're at 50% utilization. They normally say the safe area to be is 30 or below. You know, the lower you are, the better off your credit score will be. But let's just say, just 30% or below on, the maximum amount of credit that you have and your utilization, and you should be good. Your credit score will look a lot better. A length of credit history. So this goes into basically how long you've had credit. This is one of the main reasons they say never get rid of your oldest credit card, even if you don't use it. So easy example, let's say I got a credit card 10 years ago. So right now my credit age is 10 years. If I got a credit card today, my credit age would be 5 years because it just averages whatever you have. So anytime you get a new card, that's bringing your average down, because now you're new. If you got 2 new cards this year, both of those, are still on year 1. So that's going to drop your average down, even if you had a, card from 10 years ago. Reversely, if you got rid of that 10-year card, now your age is 1 year because all you have is the cards you got this year. So even if you don't use your old credit card, hold on to it, maybe charge a stick of gum to it every couple of months so they don't close it, and it'll just help your credit score out. New credit, this is like inquiries. So you ever heard of a soft pull and a hard pull? Soft pull, they're checking your credit, but it doesn't actually affect your credit score. Hard pull, it does affect your credit score. It'll knock it down a couple points, and that's normally what they do, for you getting new credit vehicles, trying to get a house, trying to apply for credit cards, so on and so forth. But those hard inquiries will fall off after 2 years. And then types of credit used, or credit card mix. That's basically how many different types of credit has this person had. And based off of that, they're like, okay, they're well versed with auto loans, credit cards, secured and unsecured, mortgages, so on and so forth. It's just like, all right, this person has been responsible with different types of credit. Let's raise their score because they are more credible. They're more trustworthy. So that's about it. Yep. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, or, throw something in the comments. Again, this is Darius Lester with Mammoth Money Mindset.